I mean, if you're going to be a punk, you're going to get treated like a punk.
And they can really make or break a deal.
All right. So we're still trying to find our intro, right? So what do you got?
Here's ChatGPT's clean and professional intros we're starting with, okay? Welcome to The Blueprint, your clear, straightforward guide to California real estate. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down what you need to know to make smart moves in the Golden State.
You had me for the first 7 words. And then it went off the rails.
Welcome to The Blueprint.
Yeah, welcome to The Blueprint. I don't hate that, but
oh my goodness.
What else you got?
All right, here's a pop culture. You're tuned into The Blueprint, the one where we talk about California real estate. I can't even finish them. Oh boy.
These are dumb. Like these are. All right. Welcome to The Blueprint.
Wait.
One more. All right.
Ultra short. Ready? This is The Blueprint. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it, I guess. We'll go with that. Today we're talking about there's a guy called the Fat Electrician that I watch, and his opening is, today we're going to talk about, and then blah 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 blah. But that's the gusto of today we're going to talk about. He's really engaging to watch, but yeah, I can't steal his thing. It's not my thing.
What's up, everybody?
Thing.
Welcome back to our Blueprint episode.
Howdy. That's something else I say all the time.
Anyway, hi, I'm Katie Martin. I'm a transaction coordinator in California.
Hi, I'm Ken Jamaica, managing broker of J. Castle Group, a boutique brokerage out of Northern California. So today, I went through our potential topics thing, and I think that co-opetition is a big thing in our market, right? So there are agents that love to cooperate and are very fun to deal with, and there are agents that are the exact opposite. So what I want to know is why agents feel the need to be aggressive to other agents, right? Because we all work together, right? Whether we like each other or not, we all work together, right? We have different clients, different circumstances. But if someone's a jerk to me across a deal, you go on a blacklist, right? And now, of course, you can't really blacklist somebody, but I can say, hey, we have 2 offers. I don't know this agent, but I know this agent doesn't negotiate in good faith and lies and causes problems in the transaction. They're similar offers. What do you want to do? Right. And often sellers will go, well, let's go with the unknown because we know that's going to suck. This might not suck. Right. And on the flip side of that, there are gold lists. And now I just did one recently with an agent that we had an amazing transaction with years ago. In fact, she's a broker that I still talk to about brokery questions. But when I wrote the offer, she's like, oh, that's our friend agent, right? And so she called friend agent, went, hey, I just submitted an offer. Let's get this done. And I don't know if there are multiples. I don't know if our relationship had any juice, right? It might have. But that was one of the smoothest transactions ever because all the parties knew each other and we all played nice together. And, repair request was negotiated very clearly and fairly. And there was no mumbo jumbo, no muss and fuss. So on the flip side, I've had agents where I've had to leverage my deep understanding of contract law, and this is me being an asshole. And I fully admit that this was me. My client didn't want to release contingencies. We could have. I mean, we did all the things. We had a 21-day close. We had 7-day contingencies because the other agent doesn't know how to read a contract. And he's like, we need to release contingencies. My seller's all freaking out. And I'm like, I'm missing the disclosure. And he's like, what do you mean? I gave you everything. And I was like, I don't have an AVID. He's like, I don't do AVIDs. And I actually brought up TDS where it was like, see attached AVID with his signature. And I screenshot it, sent it to him and said, apparently you do. And it was like 9:00 at night on a Friday. And he drove out. He lives in Folsom. He drove out all the way to Rockland. And he had to go do an AVID at 10:00 at night. And he took a picture of his dashboard and of the house from his car. Like, here's your AVID. Gave him my cool. I'll release in 5 days. See you later.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, if you're going to be a punk, you're going to get treated like a punk, right? And
I've never seen someone be rude in a transaction and have it work out in their favor.
Right. Exactly.
I've never seen an agent be able to effectively strong arm another agent on the other side into doing what they want them to do by being a jackass.
Yeah.
I've just never seen it happen. All it's done is caused more problems.
Absolutely.
Every single time without fail.
Well, and what's frustrating to me is when I know an agent is being slimy. I want to use a different word, but it's family friendly. But, and I tell my client, listen, I know that the other agent is being slimy. I know that facts are facts and these are the facts. And this is what we can and should do. And they go, well, I don't want to rock the boat. It's like,
so there's a difference between being rude for no apparent reason other than you want to try to overpower people in the transaction and be manipulative. And there's the difference between trying to hold another agent accountable who is being wildly unresponsive, uncooperative, whatever have you. And there's a very direct professional way to do that. You can involve brokers, you can say it directly, whatever it may be, but it's never just being blatantly rude, name calling, parading people with emails every 5 minutes. I mean, there's obvious decorum here,
right?
That is known.
I don't think I've ever had an agent call me names.
I think I've seen it twice.
Yeah,
but I see a lot of transactions.
Right. Yeah,
so.
I've seen some passive aggressive. I've seen some aggressive, but I haven't seen any FU buddies. Right. Yeah. I've seen my client's we're gonna cancel. I mean, I've done the we're gonna cancels, right? Like, we're at an impasse, we're just gonna cancel. Like, and I've said, send me a release or a cancellation. That's where we are, right?
Yeah.
But that isn't being aggressive. That's just either
trying
you're gonna send me a release,
rolling.
I'm gonna send you an MVP, or send me a cancellation. Like, don't make me do paperwork. Like, send me one of the two. So I don't have to write an MVP because I don't want to, right? We all know that Ken hates paperwork and I'm in the wrong job, but I hate paperwork. So my favorite story, and I alluded to those in a different podcast, is I did a transaction years ago. Probably my first 15 transactions ever. It was a referral from a friend, my broker at the time, actually. And it was his third wife's sister. I think that's right. Who had a house in Lincoln and she wanted to sell that one and buy a new one. And there's a family connection there. So I had to kind of soft shoe some stuff where it would have been like, I'm going to fire you as a client if you don't pull your, anyway. But I get her house in contract and she's like, I don't want to find a new house till I sell this one. And I'm like, where are you going to go? She's like, well, I just need to be able to stay here until I find a new one. And I'm like, that's not how this works, but we could try it. So market was still pretty warm. It was, you could get into a house pretty quickly. But they had some ridiculous requirements and I get their house in contract and the buyer's agent is an absolute gem. She is a good friend to this day. And I said, cool, but we're contingent on finding a replacement property. And I show them, 20 different houses over 2 weeks. And they wanted to be out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm looking at stuff like in Lotus and like just middle of, they actually bought a house in Lotus, but stuff out there, far side of the lake, right? So it's not a short drive to go show these properties. And they get in the contract 3 times and they kept dropping out for just stupid reasons. Meanwhile, buyer on their house is like, what are we doing? Like, we're 2 weeks into a 30-day close and you haven't even put contract in yet. Like, what are we doing? And I tell the other agent, and she's like, well, we need to get this figured out. Like, what can we do? Can you call your broker? And I'm like, he has absolutely zero help here. None. Like, I love my old broker. He's still one of my very, very good friends. If I had to call him, he had to call Car Legal because he didn't know either. Like, he signed broker demands and that was his entire role in developing my real estate career. And it was his sister-in-law I think he was still married at the time. So it's his current sister-in-law. So he wasn't going to do anything silly. Right. So, but the buyer's agent, was super, super helpful in the whole thing. We got it all figured out. We got him a new house. we closed the transaction, and we actually went out like the next night. Her and her husband and me and Natalie went out and we drank. Like I don't drink, and then that is a very well known shenanigan in my life, is that I do not drink. I drank that night, and we actually Ubered there because I planned to get plastered, and I did. But we got it figured out, and we got it closed. And like I said, that agent, she's a broker associate, and she's been a managing broker a bunch of times. She's wanted to slow down her life, but I've called her and been like, "Hey, so I have a situation, and I don't know what to do. What would you do?" Mm-hmm. And the answer is almost always call car legal, because she doesn't know either. Because
at what point do you typically, if an agent's either uncooperative or just being very unprofessional in an email, do you CC their broker?
On my transactions, I've never had to. Okay. For J Castle agents, I have a few times had to call brokers, and it sucks. I don't want to get that call, right? And I don't want to have to make that call, because it sucks. Like, there's no good way to be like, "Hey, your agent's being an asshole," right? But I have had to call and be like, "Hey, I need you to step in on this transaction. Stuff's going sideways. Here's where we're at. Here's what I know. I've been involved for 92 seconds. And so you're right there where I'm at. But here's the facts that I have. If you could chat with your agent, and then maybe you and I do this going forward, let's take our agents off the table, because it's clearly contentious. Let's get caught up on both of our ends, and then maybe, we finish this transaction together." And one of those times, the broker kicked the agent in the head, and things kind of course corrected, right? And then one that we ended up, the transaction died. I don't remember who canceled on, like, who started the cancellation, but it just fell apart. But I am happy to step in and help, but I hate it, right? Because it's not fun calling somebody's boss. It's not, I'm not a Karen. I don't be like, "I'm going to call your manager," right? Like, but I also am very supportive of my team. So if my team is getting abused, or my team is uncomfortable for some reason, I'm happy to step in and solve problems. So, but again, I've never received that call, thankfully, but I have agents that are not like that, right? I did have one agent that was obnoxiously aggressive and lied, and was on the wrong side of the border of unethical. And, I think they dipped their toes over the line. I don't think they jumped, 2 feet into the pool, but enough that I was like, "Yeah, you don't belong here." Like, and I called them on a Monday. They closed the transaction on a Monday, and I waited. I knew I was going to let them go. I kind of, pondered over the weekend, confirmed that, this is the right decision for me, for the team. Right. And I let the transaction close on Monday, and I called them Tuesday morning and said, "You need to find a new broker. I am dropping you as soon as I hang up the phone." And they're like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, this situation," I kind of laid out the high level facts, and they said, "Okay, I understand." And I went, "Excellent." And I hung up the phone, and I clicked drop. Like, I had it on my screen already. Like, I just click drop. And they went back to a previous broker, and they've moved around a little bit since then. I've not paid attention to their career, because I don't care, but I wanted to see where they landed.
Yeah.
But I've only had to do that once. And actually, when I picked up that agent at J Castle, I had dealt with them on a transaction. I was the listing agent, and they were the buyer's agent. And I remember that they did a repair request for an obscene amount of money. And it was one of those, I do this too, right? Any number that ends in 0 is a placeholder. Right. So if you ask for a $4,000 credit, that's a placeholder. If you ask for a $39.97 and 22 cents, that's derived. Like, that came from somewhere. Well, knowing that psychology, sometimes I'll just make up a number and add cents to it. Right. Because then it looks to a buyer's agent, or a listing agent, or a seller, that number came from somewhere. Right. If I go, "Hey, we need the HVAC fixed, we need the plumbing fixed, we need this thing fixed, we want a credit of $16,297.14.
Again, agents, check the work, figure out where that came from. Don't just trust it.
Right. But I mean, that's true. And this agent had done that, and I knew for a fact that it was completely made up. Like,
Yeah.
and it was one of those, we need to get the HVAC ducts clean because they smoked weed in the house. And I was like, okay, why is your repair request $19,000?
Yeah.
I could replace the entire HVAC system for less than that. Like,
yeah.
So, but my clients, and I think the agent knew this, were getting divorced, wanted to be done, had the equity, and the other agent was like, let's shoot our shot. Right. And I'm like, guys, we can say no. They're not going to walk over this. We can offer them half. We can offer them nothing. We can, but, and accepting it as is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good option.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, nope, I want it done. Sign, give them I think it was like, it was 19 or 29, I forget, but it was an obscene amount of money for what they were asking for. And they gave it to him. Mm-hmm. Right. And I knew that agent was full of it. And when they asked to come here, I was like, well, I know you do a lot of business because I've dealt with you, I know that you are a tough negotiator. So let's do it. And I don't think they lasted 5 months here before we cut them.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's the same logic, right? It's don't be an asshole to other agents because that follows you. Right. And like I said earlier, like we all work together, whether we like it or not, we all work together, and the industry is almost like a company, right? It's almost like one organization that all has to do stuff. I call the Realtor Association the mafia because it really kind of is, but we all work for the same mafia, right? So while our regions may be different and while our factions may be different, we still have to engage with each other. And when you are acting like a scumbag, you are going to get treated like a scumbag.
Yeah. And
it doesn't take many times for you to do something. You screw something up once, you had a bad day, you were a little aggressive with somebody, okay, everybody has bad days. Everybody says stuff they didn't mean. They were, you were angry because your dog peed on the carpet and you had to answer an email right now, or you picked up the phone while you were, had a crying kid and you're like, God, no, we're not doing that. Shut up. I mean, like we've all had those, right?
Sure.
But when your entire persona is that, right?
Yeah.
And from the second email and transaction, you're like, oh, this is going to suck. Right. So, and honestly, if I had something where I'm dealing with an agent and I had that response, I'd be like, you good? Like everything okay?
Yeah.
Man, dog puke and cat left and baby crying. Cool. Yeah. Let's talk about this later. I'll call you tonight. Right.
Yeah.
And we have a more civil conversation, and they appreciate the fact that I was understanding of their current predicament, and and we have a much better conversation. And usually I get what I want, right? If I'm asking for something, at that point I get the thing I'm asking for because I showed compassion in that moment. But when you get someone who bold-faced lies, who makes up stuff, who tells you they're not doing an AVID, right? Like those are the ones that you just know are going to be a problem. And those, frankly, I don't steer my clients, but you can give them all the information, let them make a decision. Here are the facts, right? Good.
What astonishes me the most is when agents are rude to escrow officers.
That's stupid.
I mean, there are definitely good and bad escrow officers. There's no question about it. But that's someone that you could potentially work with in your area every single transaction.
Yep.
So usually I'm kind to everyone in my emails, but I'm extra kind to escrow officers because I know I'm going to see them again. And they can really make or break a deal in terms of their communication, how supportive they are, how helpful they are,
how fast they cut your wire. Oh, we missed wire cutoff the day before a 4-day weekend. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. See you Tuesday.
Yeah. They did their job. They got the file closed that day. They got the wires out that day. It was at 3:15. Sorry. Did my best. So the escrow officer that I work with the most, love her to death. She is one of my favorite people. She told me, she's like, when we close a deal, like yours is the first wire to go out. Like it just is. And I'm like, I appreciate that. Unnecessary, right? Pay my client first, but appreciate the effort.
And escrow officers have been some of the kindest people I've worked with. I've had terrible loss in the last few years, and I've also celebrated wonderful things, like I've gotten married in the last few years. And it's always escrow officers who will email me directly if they see something in my email, and they'll offer condolences or congratulations. And it's always, those are the connections I make the hardest, it seems, is with the escrow officers, because I think they also can appreciate when people are kind to them rather than like, here, a new escrow, open this. It's like,
right.
They're also human, they are a third party, a neutral third party, but they
100%.
deserve your respect and all that stuff too. So
not just agents, but to your point, escrow officers, title reps are the same way. A good title rep can make or break your life. And it's funny because the title rep for my favorite escrow officer, she's a great title rep. When I need something, she's Johnny on the spot. She is right there with anything I ask for. But she knows that I'll ask if I need anything, so she doesn't follow up with me. On one hand, I appreciate that. Stay out of my inbox. On the other hand, sometimes I like to be petted. Right? Like, hey, you good? Oh, I'm good. Yeah. You want a cookie? I'd like a cookie. And then there's other title reps that, they know that Jay Castle is good business. They want our business. And I get the, they can only do so much, legally, but, I get the, hey, you see our new tool? Can we help you? You want an open house packet from us? Can we pre-open that escrow for you? I'll give you the best escrow officer we have. And I get phone calls and emails and stuff from them constantly. And I feel bad being like, I am short of murder or the EO literally pooping in my cornflakes. I am likely never to leave them. So you are barking up the wrong tree. But I say it in a graceful way because my EO could get hit by a bus tomorrow and I'm on the market. Right? So to your point, being kind doesn't cost anything. And even though I've told someone the same thing 214 times, I still say it nicely. I may roll my eyes and grumble as I answer the phone, and certainly will grumble when I hang up the phone. But while I'm on the phone, I'm sweet as pie. So there's one who really rubbed me the wrong way years ago. I met them through, I don't remember, my Alexa just made noise. I met them through some networking event or something. They said, oh, yeah, I can come teach your team some stuff. And I was like, cool, jump on a team meeting. And they came out and they showed us their Ignite clone, right? Whatever. I don't remember what it was called, but it was their title company tool set thing. And they came and they demoed it. They showed us how to use it, made us all accounts. And then we logged into it a handful of times and, played with it. But I like Ignite better. So we kept going back to that. And the title rep called me and she said, I see you're logging into our tool. When am I going to get an escrow? Like I'm like, well, never now. Yeah.
When are you going to send me clients?
Yeah. It was literally that abrupt and aggressive. Yeah. And I was like,
for tat for them.
Not anytime soon. I told you when I met you that I am loyal to where I'm at and I'm not leaving. And I didn't say, and I don't appreciate your attitude. But I wanted to, but again, I keep it civil, right? No one in the world knows that I hate them, right? I don't hate many people. Like, hate's hard. Like, you got to really, it takes effort. It takes effort to hate somebody. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't hold grudges because I don't think about you that much. You have to think about it to hold a grudge. Like, I don't want to think about you. So I just don't. But, there are people that, they would never know if I did hate them. Right. Because I mask well. Yeah. Right. And I think more agents need to learn how to do that because you can tell when someone is speaking to you with the utter disdain of their entire being. Right. And I don't get that much because I'm pretty easy to get along with. I'm laughy, jokey. I swear a lot. And,
Yeah, I think it's difficult being an agent, knowing that the other side, no matter what side you're on, has power over you in some way or another. And so if you're going to take the route of being super rude, they're not going to help you. So it never makes sense to
100%.
bite the hand that feeds you. And you both have an ultimate goal, and that is to get this escrow closed and title transferred. Like
Right.
that's it. That's what you're both working towards. And
well,
yeah,
and there's a lot of
understand it.
agents that they feel like they have to win. And the win criteria is different for everybody. Win for me,
the hustle culture agents.
Win for me is getting this closed.
Yeah.
Whereas win for them, maybe they got the best. We squeezed them for every nickel, right?
Yeah.
100% it's not.
It's not about you.
Right.
It's about your clients. Yeah. You are a vessel for this to happen ultimately, and your focus should be the happiness of your clients, not.
And it's those agents that have really, made us in the same category as lawyers and public view, right? That we, 100%.
As car salesmen. So, yeah. Realtors have a very negative reputation, it seems, especially if you go to a space where it's not realtor focused, and people will talk about, oh, what's the most annoying job someone can have? And it's like typically
realtor, lawyer, used car salesman,
realtors up there.
Right. Kind of those three.
Yeah. And that's not been my experience working with realtors for the last 6 years. I adore realtors. I think they're very quirky and fun. But I see why that is a common misconception.
I wouldn't say misconception. I would say just, general opinion, because people aren't wrong. I mean, there are double-digit percentage of agents that are complete tool bags and have earned that reputation, right? But there's more agents that are the opposite of that do care about their clients, that do work well with others, that can, play in the sandbox as other agents, and it's not a thing. One of the most interesting introductions I've ever heard from an agent is I was at a chamber breakfast, the one time I've ever gone to a chamber breakfast, because they are early in the morning and I don't do that. 100%. And it's 20 minutes away. I get up at like yesterday. Like, it's terrible. So chamber breakfasts are like 92% either financial planners or realtors. I mean, that's who.
Yeah. I feel like every networking event is like usually about 80%
like
realtors.
Those are two people that insurance agents, which is financial planner light. But there were, I think, literally maybe 8 of us in the room. Right. And we all kind of knew each other or knew of each other, name recognition, maybe not people recognition, but we introduce ourselves, you go around the room and, hey, I'm, so-and-so, I'm number 14 in the book or whatever. And it gets this guy and he said, there are a bunch of realtors in this room and we all work together to find a common goal. And there is, as I like to say, he's from Britain or something. He said, there's a horse for every track. And I was like, that is an interesting way to say that. But we don't have to fight over the same clients, right? There are clients that I will not work with. There are clients that will not work with me, right? I am loud. I'm obnoxious. I swear a lot. I'm a lot, right? But I'm also fun to be around and very knowledgeable and very good at negotiating and very good at my job, right? So there's some people. I actually learned recently that I'm getting off subject here, but my ex-wife sent me a text from one of her friends where she said, I was going to give Ken's business card to my sister, but she didn't like that he had his mouth open on his business card. And I mean, everybody on here should be able to see my profile picture at least once, but I use that picture on everything. Funny story. I won a rotor, or not a rotor. I won a realtor hat, and the first time I had to go to the welcome thing for SAR when I first became a realtor, and I answered all the they did all the silly questions. How many licks take Tootsie Pop, right? And I was like, whatever. And I got a bunch of like calendar magnets and stupid shit. And the guy finally like turned around and grabbed a hat because I had like a stack of the stuff I normally give out. Threw me a hat. So I get the crowd. I was so excited. I was like, I got a hat. And it took that selfie and that just became my headshot. But anyway, that's indicative of my personality. Yeah. And that woman's sister didn't appreciate that. Well, she's not my client, right? She belongs to somebody else and she needs to go work with somebody else. And I don't care, right? I am glad that someone else got a client that wasn't going to work well with me, right? If she did work with me out of, she felt the need because, best friend of an ex-husband or whatever, right? We had a bad time. I would have made her cranky. She would have made me cranky. It was a bad time. I'm not the right track for that horse. Right. But
Yeah.
if she'd come to me first, yeah.
Real quick. Time out.
Yes.
Are you tapping your finger? Okay, it's
Sorry.
coming through on the mic the whole time. Yeah, that's okay. Hopefully you can cut this and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually there's a screw on my mic stand that I'm messing with.
Yeah, I keep hearing tap,
it's probably
tap,
shaking
tap,
the microphone arm. Cool. Good.
Yep. So hopefully.
No, I'm not even cutting this part. We're just gonna let this roll.
It's coming through
we're
the
just
mic,
gonna Nate.
Okay.
I made a dumb and y'all heard it, so good for us. But anyway, so back to my story. Like, there's no reason if she did come work with me and we were having a bad time, I would offer to refer them out and be like, hey, we're having a bad time, right? Like, you don't listen to me, I don't listen to you. Like, we're not compatible. Let me refer you to somebody else, right? That is the heart of co-opetition, right? That is this client deserves to be with you. They will get a better experience with you. And so I'm going to give them to you.
Yep.
I'm going to take a cut probably, but I'm going to at least give you the opportunity, right? And then to your point, there's no reason to make things contentious. There's no reason ever to be an asshole during a transaction to anybody, right? And you can be mad, right? I'm good at being mad. I practice at home. But you get a inspector that tries to blow up a deal, right? You get an appraiser that comes back with an asinine appraisal, right? You can be mad and you can even voice your frustration in an email, but you can do that without being a tool bag, right? There's no way that appraiser used those comps. I have 7 better comps than that. What the absolute hell are you doing? Go fight this thing, right? You can say that even in those words, but if you leave out the explicitives and you put a smiley face at the end, you can really change. I mean, people can't always read, your intention in email. And sometimes a smiley face or an upside down smiley face changes the entire tone of an email.
I'm a very direct person. And sometimes I'll type out an email and think, I don't know how to reword this, but I don't want to be an asshole. So I always put an exclamation point or a smiley face.
100%. I
use that
my text
all the time.
I have 3 emojis that I take. It's a laughy face, a big smile face, and a sunglasses face that I use in text more often than not. You get them from me constantly, right? Because
because you're also very direct. You say, please go do this.
Smiley face, right?
And then
so
it's just not like smiley face.
God, he's a dick. So
yeah. Although I have worked with TCs in the past who every single sentence ends in an exclamation point, and that needs to
murder.
Be relaxed.
Straight murder.
A little bit. Yes. Straight to jail.
So I am a huge, I'm not even a boomer, but I'm a huge user of ellipses, of the ... because my ADHD ass never finishes a thought. So there's always there's more behind that. But, anyway.
Yeah. I know that if I send you an email with 5 questions, you're just going to call me.
Yeah. It's
because I know you 100%. Won't type all that out. Yeah. Which, again, I think ties into a lot of miscommunication and then emotions rising and then things getting kind of spicy. Right. And just call the agent and then put it in writing afterward in an email. I never see that utilized. I never see, thank you for talking to me on the phone. Here's what we discussed. I've never once seen that in real estate, with the exception of escrow officers will do that. But I've never seen an agent do that. And it's always rising emotion and then a blow up.
Right.
It's like, just get on the phone. I know younger gens don't love that, but I do that too with some agents. Where I can tell we're not understanding each other, and they're starting to get pissed off, and then I'm starting to get scared that they're going to blow up at me.
Yeah,
and so
I don't think I've had anything that contentious where I would have needed. I take that back. I have had ones where I was going to be misunderstood in my response, right? I see the email and I'm annoyed that you're that dumb, or I'm annoyed that, there's no way that you meant what you just wrote there. Like, I know what those words mean, but then in the order you put them in, that when I respond, are you effing kidding me, you moron? I can temper that verbally more than I can temper that when I'm writing. I can't tell you how many emails I've deleted, right?
Yes.
When you write an email and you're like, discard, new email.
Not worth it. Yeah.
Because you don't want to be that asshole. You don't. We all work together. I'm going to see you again.
And it's already emotional enough, especially with new buyers or sellers in general. I mean, they're already high energy when it comes to these kinds of things because it's such an emotional transition or purchase or scary thing.
Well, and a lot of my clients are divorced. Since I wrote my divorce book, I have a lot of divorcing couples, and man, talk about contentious.
Those emails are interesting to be CC'd on. And I feel bad for the agents.
Thank you, because it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's worse because they need more and they're dicks about it. Right? Like, I'm not part of your divorce. Yeah. I'm here to sell your house. Right?
No.
So you guys want to fight? Cool. Take it out of our group chat. But you can't say that because then you're the asshole. And so you just mute the chat for a couple hours and come back, be like, anything real estate related? Nope. Okay, good. So
yeah, I think people, they empathize with those kinds of things and they understand how, even if it's wanted, it's still heartbreaking. You know, you didn't plan for this when you got married. And so I think they can empathize with that. And so it's hard for them to also separate their emotion from it. Same thing goes with non-divorce buyers who, you know, had planned moving companies or had already started moving across the country or what have you. You get invested in your clients' stories and their clients' lives. And so when their unhappiness is on the line or their happiness is on the line, you get emotionally invested. I understand that. But it's your job as a realtor to rein that in and be pragmatic and go for a walk around the block if you need, and then respond to the email. It's the agents that come out the gate. I'm going to be rude from the start. I'm going to be forceful from the start.
Yeah, I could probably.
I don't understand.
I could name that tune in 3 notes. I could probably name 10 agents off the top of my head that are always like that. I mean, it's my blacklist, right?
And from a TC perspective too, working for those agents, I always approach from a point of like trying to understand why they're so angry. But it's hard for me to have myself associated with that because I also don't want to be blacklisted when I'm working with a different agent who's not that way. So your team that you're working with, you're also reflecting poorly on your team when you're being that person, especially if it's consistent and I'm remaining your TC forever. I mean, I'm going to TC for you no matter what, but I'm not going to involve myself in your drama. But it looks bad on me, I feel like, when I'm now associated with you. Have you ever
apologized on their behalf to another TC or to an EO privately?
Yes, I have.
And that's terrible.
Many times.
Like that's...
And it's honestly not necessary because I know that they can disassociate, but there's times where it's gotten so bad and I just have to say, hey, I'll email a TC directly and be like, let's just stay out of this. Let's just talk you and me and get these disclosures done or whatever. Like, work with me directly. Like, let's not involve them because they're obviously very hot about this right now. So that's always appreciated. TCs have bad days too. TCs also are rude. There's TCs on here that the second I see their name, I go, ugh, great. This is going to be fun because they're consistently also very rude. I mean, it's not unique to agents. So, and I have email directly, not to other agents. I do not cross that line. It's just the assistant. Like, I can relate to the assistant or I can relate to the third party neutral, the escrow officer. I never cross the line and email another agent like, oh, I'm sorry, my agent's being such a jerk right now.
Stay in your lane. I mean, I'm a big fan of staying in your lane.
No.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a good thought and I forgot what it was, but I have.
It's okay.
Yeah, I guess there are TCs and escrow officers that I get, and I was like, I don't wanna.
There's I would say there's more wonderful escrow officers than not, but there's definitely some escrow officers that are very disorganized. And I'm not sure if it's like a matter of workload is too high for them or what, But I always question why some agents continue to choose these escrow officers that are not very communicative, who are just kind of a jumble that you have to call sometimes to get any sort of response instead of email.
One J Castle agent actually has, they're loyal to the title rep. So they use that escrow company almost exclusively if they can. And historically, those escrow officers are not the greatest in the industry. And that's fine. You know, I don't dictate who you can use as an agent, but I whenever I see him pre-open escrow, I go, ugh.
The only time I think I would say I would give my opinion about someone using them or not would be a lender or a lender company. Okay. Because I've seen some lenders go completely off the rails and absolutely ruin deals. I've never seen an escrow officer go off the rails and ruin a deal. But lenders, I've really seen them just disappear for weeks at close and not respond to anyone. And it extends, and then it starts costing the buyer money with per diems or what have you. And I will say I have strong opinions about certain lenders who, if my friends were saying, oh, I'm thinking about using this lender, I'd say absolutely do not do that. It was going to delay your escrow.
Well, and we say that money. About lender companies, not necessarily lender reps, but like,
yeah, it's more so companies than individual lenders.
A large conglomeration lender that is less than stellar, and they'll give you a pre-approval on a 6 questions on a web form, and you're pre-approved to $1 billion, and then when it comes time to close, oh, well, we need all these things. Well, I don't have those things. I told you I'm self-employed. Well, but we need 5 years W-2s. You're like, well, I'm not W-2. I don't have I'm a self-employed. Oh, cool. Well, then, we can't approve you by click. And you're 3 weeks in and you just lost a deal.
Yeah.
Someone lost a house over that.
And how much do you think it's within the agent's lane to talk to their clients about their lender? Like if you have you get a brand new buyer client and you say that they're working with that lender you're talking about, they're in pre-approval.
We generally would say, to have the best chance at getting your offer approved or offer accepted, you need to have a pre-approval from a local lender. Someone that the other agent would, that a listing agent would know who they are, that has a good reputation of being able to execute, being able to close on time. And the lender that you're bringing me a pre-approval for is notoriously bad. And if I were the listing agent, I would caution my seller against accepting an offer with a pre-approval from this company. Right. So I won't tell them to change, but I'll say facts are facts. If I was on the other side of this conversation, I would challenge this pre-approval. I would tell my seller to think long and hard about this. And I may ask the buyer's agent to get them pre-approved with my lender. Right. And I see that a lot in agent notes. Buyer must be, pre-approved with my lender. I don't care who you use, but my lender won't lie to me that you're qualified. Right. Just pre-approved.
Yeah. Just pre-approved.
Give them the details, do a cursory. Yeah, they're solid. Or, and really that's a lender can snake them. Right. But, and I challenge that all the time. Like, I'm using a local lender I've used for 5 years. Like, I'm not trying to, we're not giving them your lender. Suck it up.
Yeah.
And most of them do. Most of them are like, yeah, okay, fine. Like, you know the game. Ha, ha, ha. Right. But if it did come from any major bank, right? I will drop this name, but Chase, B of A, Wells Fargo, they say, we can close in 30 days, but they never have done it. Not one time in the history of time. Right. We had a deal. It was one of my agent's very first deals. And his client, they're pre-approved with our preferred lender internally. They went to B of A to go do the wire for the EMD. And the person behind the counter was the loan person filling in behind the counter. Like, oh, you're buying a house? Cool. What's your interest rate? Oh, I can beat that. And like stepped out around the counter and snaked them literally a day after we were in contract. And I found out because the listing agent called me and said, why are there two appraisals? It's like, what do you mean there's two appraisals? He's like, I got a call from appraiser one from your preferred lender's company. And then I just got an appraisal request from B of A's appraisal company. And I was like, make some phone calls, call you back. And I called, and then it turns out that, what happened, what I said happened. And my agent was new and didn't know that that was not right. And, so we ended up having a nice conference call, and I did a call with the listing agent, my agent, and me. And we started with just the three of us, and then we brought the buyers in. And the listing agent said, hey, this client is, my seller is cool. If we needed, delay a week or two so we can, get the better rate, with B of A. And B of A did beat the rate. I don't know how, but they beat the rate. And we did close. I think we had like a 28-day close, and it would close in 40 days or something. We delayed, and it wasn't insignificant, but we did close. And again, back to co-opetition, right? Like, the buyer's trying to do some dumb stuff. We can blow this up now, or we can work together to find an amicable solution, right? And we did that, but it burned a lender on our end. Again, nothing we can control. Buyers are going to use who they're going to use. We don't have any control of that. But I wonder now if the buyer came in with a 28-day close on a B of A letterhead, would that seller have taken that offer? And I'll never know that, right? Because even if I ask the agent now, he's not going to. I mean, that was 4 years ago. He's not remember anyway. But still, local lenders, good relationships, and this goes back to relationship building, right? So even lenders get reputations, right? So I had one. I'm not going to name names, but it's the same transaction as the one that my broker's sister-in-law. I had a lender do a pop buy, and she would bring a pop buy and then the instructions on how to make that pop buy to make them for your clients, right? And it was like a dollar store mixing spoon, like a whisk thing, and like, I don't know, like a single serving cupcake thing, and like, go make yourself a cookie or whatever it was. But it was cute. I was like, that was creative. I'll give you a shot, because I was between I didn't have anybody that I used consistently, and used her, got my client pre-approved, and she screwed up so badly it almost tanked both deals, right? Because remember that one, I had a weird sell side, and she misdid the numbers and tried to apply a seller credit to the down payment, and we were getting the final settlement statement, like the final before we sign, like the last estimated net sheet before they signed tomorrow, and they were $15,000 short on their cash to close. And they were like, what? You said, here's the emails where you said, it's like, oh no, yeah, I messed up. I put the credit for the down payment and not for your closing costs. And then, blah, 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 reasons. So thankfully the buyer called the friend and got a gift of 15 grand to be able to close that. But yeah, I've never used that lender again. And as a listing agent, if I got a pre-approval from that lender, I'm going to call the agent and be like, so try again. I need a letter from somebody else. I cannot. I know this lender. Yeah. I cannot in good faith accept an offer with them, knowing what they've done in the past. So call literally anybody else. So, but yeah, it's what's your worst, without naming names, what is your worst experience with an agent?
Yes. Like during a deal or with me directly? Okay. During a deal, I forget what the fight was about, but the agents started fighting about some nuance in the transaction to the point where both brokers had to be involved. And then those brokers got on a call with each other. And apparently all they did on the call, I wasn't involved, was talk shit to each other. And so then I received the email afterward that was like, we're going to car legal. this is now in litigation. Nobody work on this because here's what was said in the phone call. And then it was a lot of bickering back and forth. That wasn't said. That was said. That wasn't said. That was said. And I just said, okay, I'm going to just not do anything with these emails, take a step back. And that file sat there for probably 6 months while they were in litigation about it. And then they went, one day they just closed and it was just boom, boom, done. So it was very odd. I was nervous for everyone involved because I thought something was definitely going to happen with the broker that I was working with. But with me directly, usually when agents are unhappy with me, they just don't work with me anymore. But agents can be very fickle. They do that even when they are happy with me, but they just want someone who's cheaper, or they have joined a team that requires them to use their team TC, whatever. It's fine. I don't take it too personally anymore. But when I went independent, I was emailing agents to become clients and giving them my spiel and my pitch. And I emailed one agent who I'd worked with well in the past. I said, hi, just so you know, I've been independent for a while now, and I'm reopening my books. And he said, why should I pay you more than I was paying you before? And it was just like, yeah, okay, well, have a great day. So that was probably, yeah, it was more than that in the email, but it was effectively like, yeah, you're not worth that. And so that was, yeah, well, not too bad.
First of all, I wholeheartedly disagree. You are absolutely worth what you charge.
Thank you.
But you said car legal. I actually know an agent, back to scumbags, who every transaction he gets into, he calls car legal and just gives the address and asks some inane question to lock the other side out of car legal. Because once car legal talks to one side, they will not talk to the other. Because now there's conflict of interest. So they will say, hey, we're already involved in this transaction. You need to call outside counsel. So you lose your, it's shady as hell.
That's a little sneaky.
It is absolutely shady as hell. And I heard that and I'm like, you scumbag, that's a good idea. No, and I don't. I've called car legal a few times on transactions, and I've been beat. I've been beat where I've gotten told, seek outside counsel. And I was like, what do I not know? Right? Like, I'm calling because I have a question about an easement. What don't I know on this? And I don't think the one time that I got beat out was nothing bad happened, but that was when I was like, I didn't even know that could happen. And then I found out from someone else how telling that story. Like, I get beat out on car legal, but I was told about it. But yeah, and that's the shady stuff that, we're used car salesmen at that point, right? Like, so.
Yeah. And it's not like other people don't know what's going on. It's not like you can really be that sneaky about things.
Like
people,
if you're a scumbag to me, I'm not going to name drop you on a podcast, but I will certainly tell another agent, hey, if you ever talk to Billy, that guy's a scumbag. Here's what happened. Oh my God, I know. And I dealt with him too. And here's my story. I'm like, well, if one person calls you a duck, I forget how that saying goes, but 3 people start quacking something. Yeah, I don't.
It walks like a duck. Sounds like a duck. Looks like a duck. Yeah.
That was like, I don't know, the late 1900s.
Oh my gosh. Actually, sorry, going back, I just remembered this. One time I emailed a listing agent because I was the buyer's agent TC and gave him my timeline, introduced myself and said, do you have a TC? Like, let me know what you need. And he said, lol, you're cute. I'll just talk to your agent. Thanks.
Wow.
So, I emailed him every 3 days asking for stuff if I needed something. I was adamant about making 100%. Sure my name was in his inbox. I was like, thanks, I just got possible. My haircut. He never emailed me once.
Where's my TDS?
Nope. He never responded to a single email. He never emailed me once. He would read my email and then send the document out of spite to my agent, and then my agent would have to forward it to me.
I have no words. Like, agents are dicks.
Yep. I thought that was
absurd. Turnabout's fair play. I think that you handled that well. I think staying top of mind.
Yeah. If someone doesn't like me out of some petty thing like that, like you think I'm beneath you because I'm a TC.
Well, here's the ridiculous thing. Oh. And I'm going to say that, no one's beneath anybody. First of all, period, full stop. Right? We're all humans. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. No. I don't care who you are. We are all on the same playing field. Right? I actually want to jump into my pants with 2 feet just so you people can't say he puts his pants on one leg at a time like that, because that's right. Just like everybody else. I don't. I 2 feet at once. But anyway, so I would argue that a good TC makes more money than a bad agent by a factor. I mean, like, but by 10x. So what's the average agent make in the US? 30 grand, something like that. And our market's probably 50 grand, maybe. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Good TC definitely makes well above that, so, for sure. Yeah. That wants the business. Too. I mean, you get to, that's wonderful.
I mean, if agents don't want the business.
TC, yeah. Well, I take that back. When I worked at my last job, I was paid $20 an hour and I was averaging like 600 transactions a year.
Yeah, that math is different.
And I was... yeah. So don't work for a TC corporation if you can avoid it. Become independent. It's wonderful.
Well, I mean, recommend. So let's talk about that for half a second, right? I know where you were and I know the trauma that ensued, but is there value in working at a conglomerate for 3, 6, 9, 12 months and then, but knowing that you're going to be there for 15 minutes and getting out?
Yes. So when I started this, I started at a TC corporation, I'll say, to make it easy. And they did like a crash course in what I had no idea what real estate was. I had never worked in it. I never bought a home, anything like that. And they did a crash course on the basics of real estate. And then they had you shadow someone for a couple of weeks and then they throw you in and you kind of sink or swim. But it's very much a team environment. It was very much, if you had a question, you had 8 TCs around you could ask, and someone had probably seen it or understood it, so they could walk you through it. So there was a lot of camaraderie in that regard. And so there was a lot of wealth of knowledge share, which was wonderful. Going straight from no knowledge as a person in real estate to TCing, I think would be very difficult, because there is a learning curve, but there's classes you can take. There's YouTube videos you can watch. It's just going to be a lot more legwork than something like what I had. But then there's also competition clauses where if you do get a bunch of clients and you love them, you have to say goodbye to them if you're going to go independent. So
yeah, I have.
If you sign that.
A lot of those aren't enforceable in California, but not.
Right. Some of them explicitly, like mine explicitly said, I can't solicit those people for their business. So I couldn't say like, hi, leave this place that I'm working at because I'm going independent. But I had no legal problem. Potentially, I think. Yeah. If they found out that I was independent and they said, oh my gosh, you're independent. Can I come work with you? I would say,
and that's what a typical non-solicitation clause is, right? It's not a non-compete, it's non-solicitation, which non-solicitations I think are enforceable in California. Non-competes usually are. It's a struggle, right? But yeah, I mean, and then you didn't have to. I mean, you sent an email. It's, hey, sorry, I'm leaving, TC Corp. I'm, opening my own thing. My new email is blah.
I didn't even see any of that. I just said, sorry, my last day is here. And then a lot of them followed me on social media or had my personal phone number or what have you and said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, actually, I can't say it because I'm bound under this corporation's rules right now, but I'm becoming independent. And then I said nothing else. And they said, well, I'm absolutely coming with you. And I went, okay, that's your choice.
And that was what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Yeah, we're past statute of limitations anyway. That was 5 years ago. You can talk about it now. Still don't talk about the company name. We're not trying to blast people here.
No.
It's really hard for me actually to not name names because I have good stories and I want to like start giving fake names, like this agent, let's call them Uncle Jimmy, right? Like, because it's easier to tell a story with a name, Fred did a thing versus this agent, that agent makes me crazy. All right. Well, anything else you any wisdom to impart?
No, we do have some great.
I'm so excited.
ChatGPT sponsored outros, though.
All right, what do we got?
All right. So, as you guys know, we've been trying to figure out our outros and intros, and the ever reliable ChatGPT has come up with a couple. You stay classy, California. This has been the Blueprint.
You stay classy.
Okay, you want Anchorman status? Or how about you've been listening to The Blueprint? Until next time, build your plan.
I love your radio voice, though.
Count.
Like you do. I have said that from the very beginning. The first time I had you on a Zoom call, that was a good radio voice. Your words were idiot, but like your voice was great. Try again. What else you got?
Okay. This has been The Blueprint. Clear steps, smart decisions.
No, next.
See you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning into The Blueprint. Remember, every great move starts with a solid plan.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God.
It's getting worse as you go. Like GPT's giving up as it goes. Like you can watch the progression of, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of these are real
Let's do a
bad.
pop culture one. You have a pop culture one?
Yeah. That's all for today. May your square footage be ever in your favor.
Wow. All right. On that note, I'm out. Go forth and conquer. I'll talk to you later.
Go forth and conquer.